Welcome to the Becoming a Pilot podcast, where we share first-hand experiences, practical advice, and insights from pilots at every stage of their journey. I'm your host, Dave Angus, and whether you're just starting out or working towards your next rating, we're here to help you navigate the path to becoming a pilot. So buckle up, stay tuned, and let's talk all things aviation.
This podcast is brought to you by Genesis Flight College, Canada's premier flight centre. With an advanced fleet of Diamond aircraft and experienced instructors, Genesis Flight College provides top-tier training in the heart of southern Georgian Bay. Ready to start your journey to becoming a pilot? Inquire today.
Welcome back. On today's episode, we're going to chat a little bit about the night rating, what it takes to get the night rating, what the process is, and what you can expect flying out of Collingwood Airport or Genesis during that night rating. If I were a new student coming in here, or I guess a newly PPL student, because we need to have that to get into the night rating side of things, where would we go from there? When would you recommend that we do the night rating? And what kind of steps do I need to take to get that?
Right. So starting off with initial steps after the PPL, a night rating is a good option to secure another rating under your belt. Well, I guess your first rating, technically, once you get the PPL.
Opens up a lot of windows, right? Because we know now this time of year, being the winter time, it's dark by 5:30ish, right?
Yeah.
So having that ability, now I can fly later and time build or whatever I got to do, right? So
yeah, cross country night navigation time is valuable. So, but yeah, I would say initial steps would be obviously getting the instructor involved with pursuing the night rating, and then initial steps would be just the a circuit lesson. So go up and fly the circuit to get a feel for landings and takeoffs at nighttime. It is much different, but nighttime comes with a lot of benefits because, like you alluded to, the daytime hours are short, but also the weather seems to be more calm, less wind, and visibility is great at nighttime. So yeah, we start the students off with the circuit lesson, and then we branch out, and one of the benefits with Genesis is we allow students to go solo to other airports at night while they're building their nighttime currency.
Yeah, that's a big advantage because, as we know, like Collingwood, we're pretty lucky. We got nice lights here, but we don't have things like Pappy's, right? Whereas if we go to Edenvale, Lake Simcoe, yeah, exactly, they have those there, so you can see different styles of lighting. Even if you fly down to the city, go to the island or something, you can now see, taxi line lighting, so taxiway lighting, like all different things, approach lights, right? Yep. So yeah, we have that opportunity, let's say, to go other places because there's so many airports between here and Toronto, right?
Yeah. So some of the maneuvers that we practice in the night rating, which most students are pretty excited to do when they actually fly at night, is we practice flapless landing, right? So something we kind of practice in the daytime before we get them ready. But flapless landing, landing without a landing light, and complete electrical failure. And we practice forced approaches at night, which are quite challenging because you don't have the ground visual reference to actually pick an appropriate field. So those can be challenging, going to other airports is really beneficial to students using Type K lighting, adjusting the sensitivity.
Right.
Yeah,
I agree with the forced approach. That's one thing that when I take students up is we're flying around here. Maybe there's not any big city around, and I go, okay, we lose an engine. Where are we going to land? During the day, forced approaches are hard enough, and now we throw the element in that we can't even see what's on the ground. It's it's crazy. It really adds a different element to pilot decision making, right? So it's something that is cool around here that we can actually witness it and see that. If we were flying in a densely populated area where there's lots of lights, well, maybe I'd say, okay, well, I'm going to land on a road or something because it's actually lit. I can see. I have a better chance. Well, here, even the back roads aren't lit. So it can make it really tough, right? Definitely. So we don't really know. Like let's actually talk a little bit about that. When you go up with a student and you're doing those forced approaches, how do you navigate picking that that field, right?
Yeah. So what I like to do is just to start it in this close to the circuit. So you can make it back to the runway. Obviously, that's your number one goal, is to land on a paved surface. If it's a runway, then great. But if not, look for, I would say, shoreline, because there's beach there. That's a good one. But fields are really hard to pick. So you just kind of go through the steps with them, try to restart the engine.
Right.
And you just make your best decision based on what you know of the geographical area. But ultimately, you can't see very much on the ground.
Yeah, one of the things that I kind of, it doesn't work 100%. It's not 100% rule.
Yeah.
But in a lot of these rural areas, so you have all the farms, you have the farmhouse that's closer to the road. There's normally a light there, a street light. Normally they put one up there because there's a house and there's an entrance, and it's better for people coming in and out. It's safer, right? And not that it always happens this way, but normally the plot of land is going to be lengthwise from the house. Could be width, like I said, it's not 100%, but a lot of times it could go straight back, that plot of land. So sometimes if you can line it up so you're at the front of that house, then you know that you're going to go with the field. Now again, it's not 100%, but it's trying to make your decision a little bit better, right? I've always said, I know it's kind of a hot take, but like I've actually think that they should get rid of the night rating and make it just part of the instrument rating.
Yeah.
Because it's so dependent on your instruments.
Right.
And we know that there's the requirement of the 10 hours for the instrument, but really, like, how comfortable are you with instruments in 10 hours? Like, it's not, maybe not 100%.
Yeah.
Whereas if they just put it with the instrument rating, that, like, I don't personally feel it's a very VFR type rating. Now, if you're down in a place like Toronto and you've got a great distinguishable objects on the ground, lights and all that, then yeah, sure, it seems like it's very VFR. But here, and we'll talk about in a little bit when we go west of here and we start looking at black hole effect and obscured horizons and things like that, it's not VFR at all. Right. So let's talk a little bit about that with geographically. So we say we can go south and go to Toronto, which we do. We'll do what we call the Skyline Tour.
Yeah.
I've actually had the opportunity as well as being vectored over Pearson.
Yeah.
I get some really cool shots going over there. Yeah. But then the other side of it is if we go west to like Goderich, Kincard in that area, what kind of challenges can we experience going that way?
Yeah, so you get, like you said, the black hole effect off of the shoreline there because there's a huge cliffside. So the departure end from one of the runways and Goderich really gives you that black hole effect. And obscured horizon. If it is a cloudy night without any moon lighting, then you can't really distinguish the sky from the ground. So on departure, you have to really rely on those instruments, right?
Yeah, I find it really interesting as well. I normally try to take it so that I get in the downwind leg and start going out to sea. And once you get past that peripheral vision and you have nothing there, it's a unnerving feeling for a student's first time doing that. And I really like that we do that. It's definitely worth the risk to experience that dual, right? Because if the first time they're experiencing that black hole effect, and those different spatial illusions is solo, then that's when accidents happen, right? Definitely. So going up with an instructor and experiencing that is definitely beneficial, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. One of the other challenges with the navigation part of it, once they leave the circuit and we actually embark on that navigation, we have them do a VNC. So it's not typically back to like the initial stages after PPL. We start introducing things like ForeFlight and navigating using electronic digital means. And so the student doesn't actually use ForeFlight for the navigation initially. So we get them to do the old-fashioned paper nav, and so their VNC is what they're using as well. And that's hard to look at nighttime.
Yeah.
Especially
how do you teach them to do that?
Yeah, so we have a headlamp on, right? So that's red light, so that doesn't obscure your night vision, right? And when they're looking at the VNC, a lot of the features on the VNC might be aligned with red, so it actually blocks it out.
Right.
So that's difficult, but we try to make use of towns and really following our headings that we've calculated with the navlog.
Right.
And geographical references, again, are hard to see at night. So.
Yeah. Unless it's the wintertime, you can't see Blue Mountain.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a pretty big one for us, right?
Yeah.
It's not, if anyone's listening from the West Coast, it's not really a mountain. It's a trash hill, but for us, it's huge, and it's 1,000 feet, right? So if you can't see that during the wintertime, it's nice and lit, and you know it's there. It's lit up like a Christmas tree. But during the summertime, there's nothing.
Right.
If we have see that.
Exactly. If we have a cloudless night that's moonlit, then you can see a lot more ground references and pick out roads because cars are traveling on them with their headlights. So. Navigation at night initially is just to see how much added difficulty there is,
right?
And then from there, like you said, we go to Toronto Island. A lot of students really like that flight. That's a really memorable flight. That's probably the one first cross country flight that you kind of remember forever because you get to see close up the CN Tower if you're lucky enough to be allowed to go through that airspace. That's really rewarding for the students.
Yeah, that's normally one that post-license, they love to go take the friends and family or the girlfriends or boyfriends or whoever. That's normally that big trip that they like to do after that. So why not do it dual and first, navigate that? Yeah, because it's busy airspace, right? It's Toronto airspace. You're jumping between Toronto and City Tower and stuff like that, right? So you got to be on your A game for it, right?
Definitely.
So, one of the things that I want to talk about as well is anybody, because not everybody is going to be coming to Genesis, right? And they're going to be picking, where do I do my night rating? Maybe they did their night rating somewhere, or their PPL somewhere, and they're now looking for a new place. Maybe they moved. I always say take a look at what how they structure the night rating. So, for example, when I did my night rating, we weren't allowed to leave the circuit. Had to stay in the circuit. So 5 hours of circuits is horrible.
Yeah.
But it also doesn't really build a lot of confidence or ability. You don't get that experience. We always say hours are one thing in flying, but experience is really the other, right?
Yeah.
And we see that a lot with hiring, and not to go down, the rabbit hole with that. You see a lot now, hours are important, but they want to see operational experience as well, right? Just because that builds that whole picture. So for us, being able to leave the circuit and go to different airports after you've done it dual really builds that experience and opens the door to really enjoy doing the rating as opposed to just trucking through it in the circuit, right?
Right, yeah.
So we try to use like Lake Simcoe, Muskoka, or Lake Simcoe, Huronia, Edenvale, here, just to break up the monotony of.
Right. Yeah.
It's a short rating, but it can feel really long when all you do is circuits.
Right. So of the 10 hours that you need, 5 are solo and 5 are dual.
Right. Yeah.
And then you need 10 hours of instrument. So before we even allow them to go solo, they get that 10 hours of instrument, and then they're allowed to have the freedom to go to different airports. And
so here's the $1 million question for you, which I think I hear all the time. Okay, so I got to do 10 hours a night rating. Well, I'll just do it under the hood with my instructor as well. So now I've done 10 hours. I did 5 hours solo. I'll bring up a safety pilot. So, we don't do that in Canada, right? We don't have safety pilots. You can't log your instrument time, non-instrument rated by that. But I'll just go up and go under the hood. Can I do that? Can I go under the hood while doing dual night and log them both though?
No, not during the night.
Right.
So you can't double dip with that respect.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Can't double dip. Now, if you're rated, I always love Transport Canada's explanation on this is once you're rated, it's your logbook, do what you want. If you're at night and you're flying an instrument, well, log it, fine. But when we go towards the rating, we we can't do two ratings at the same time,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Which makes sense. How can you appropriately be learning to fly at night, which is a VFR rating, while doing instrument? Right.
Yeah.
Anyways,
And of the 10 hours, 5 can be attributed from your PPL. So you really only have to gain another 5, right?
Yeah. It's not too bad. And I'd have to look. Do you know how much of that 5 can be simulator? Can it all be simulator? That extra 5?
I
actually would have to double check, but I know there is
2 or 3 maybe.
Yeah.
That can be in the sim.
Yeah, I'd have to double check. I know there is a number in there. It's been a while since I looked at that, but but yeah, that's we definitely for the PPL you're allowed to have some. So there is some simulator time allotment in there. So something worth looking into as well. Cost savings, right?
Yeah.
Do some instrument in there. So
Right. Yeah.
Awesome. So with the biggest thing is just, with the night rating, try to find somewhere that you're going to be able to leave the circuit. Here at Genesis, we let you leave the circuit.
Exactly.
It doesn't seem bad, but 5 hours flying in a loop is tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
So try to find somewhere that's going to do that, and even an airport that is going to be able to take you to see different things, see built up areas, see rural areas.
Right.
Get some black hole effect. Like it's crazy. I never really. There was 2 times in all of my flying where I actually felt like the illusion. Like the light bulb went off. Like, oh, that's the illusion that they're talking about. And that was the first time I went into like a black hole effect situation. And having to revert to the instruments, and then the first time I flew into clouds. So both things that we allow you to do at Genesis, right? We encourage going into instrument conditions. We encourage going out of the circuit and learning these things. So find a school that is willing to do that, and that's going to give you that experience, that operational, well, not necessarily operational experience, but that experience when, later on in your career when they say, okay, yeah, it's great that you've taught instrument at Genesis for 1,000 hours, 10,000 hours, but have you actually flown into a cloud? And a lot of instructors at other schools, well, no, I haven't, right? So yeah, it's good. Find a school that'll allow you to do that stuff.
Definitely.
So, awesome. Well, thank you. And anyone who's interested in doing their night rating, so it's best time of year is going to be the winter time, like we said, the time of the day.
Yeah.
But winter time does have its challenges with different weather and different considerations. So we do have another podcast where we talked about weather considerations in the winter, just different things to think about before going out flying. So take a look at that podcast. And again, if you ever have any questions of what you'd like to hear on the podcast, feel free to reach out to our Instagram. We'd be glad to answer them.
Awesome.
Thanks, Tyler.